Hello everyone. This is Tobi from the Phuket Meditation Center, and you're listening to the Dharana Meditation Podcast. Let's sit together, calm the busy mind, and explore topics concerning character development, meditative training, and deeper self-knowledge. Begin by sitting upright, suspend the head from above, opening the spine. Let the flesh, the soft tissue of the body, melt and relax. Breathing comfortably. So that it feels nice. Whatever presents itself to you, may it be an emotion, a mood, thoughts, chaos, order, whatever there is, allow it to be just as it is. Nothing to change, nothing to fix. Just sitting still, breathing comfortably. Allowing your body and mind to find their own balance. Breathing in, feel the body. Breathing out, notice how the body becomes slightly more soft, a bit more relaxed, and how this occurs naturally with the out-breath together. Just staying with this simple theme, breathing in, feeling, and breathing out, noticing a softening. Every time you witness that a part of your body softens a bit, notice how nice it is. How pleasant to let go. The difference between being tight, holding on, grasping, clinging, trying, and all that kind of stuff, and the relief that comes with letting go, dropping, leaving things, letting it be, leaving it behind, opening. That alone can teach you a lot about the mechanics of suffering and happiness. What is the cause of suffering? It is grasping, clinging, craving. And what is happiness? It is when you let go. Here, just at the level of the body, level of the flesh. Those little moments of joy that come with each release, let them serve you as a type of guide, a teacher. Your body will give you instant feedback as to what you are doing. Is what you are doing skillful or is it unskillful? If it is skillful, it is immediately, here and now, leading to release, to opening, softening, to accessing natural happiness and joy. If it is unskillful, it will lead to the opposite, tightening, the flaring up of nervous tension, discomfort, heaviness, and so on. That is a teaching in itself. It is your body giving you instruction. And all we need to do is pay attention to those instructions. And we take the release a little deeper, letting go of the future, letting go of the past. Entering and abiding in the present moment. Every time you know what is happening while it is happening, you're present. Every time you get lost in striving, trying to get somewhere, and so on, you're lost in the future. And every time you get stuck somewhere, remembering what happened a year ago, a week ago, a second ago, you're stuck in the past. To connect to the present moment through the senses, coming to your senses, hearing, feeling, and the awareness that thoughts pass through your space. That is presence. And letting go of the future, letting go of the past. Is pleasant, it's nice. It's like letting go of a burden, having arrived, finally coming home. There is satisfaction in presence, contentment. The more you are focused on time and how much longer and how long did we already sit and this and that, the more tight the mind becomes. So it's the same principle as in the body. Holding is stressful, release is easeful. See if you can experience this for yourself. Again, you get instant feedback. The more time you hold, the more stressful. The less time you hold, the more easeful. And you will feel this in your body. Not wanting what is, or wanting what is not. Stressful. Contentment with what is. Easeful. And even deeper, notice how following the narrative in your head is stressful, whereas releasing it, losing interest in it, experiencing the resultant silence, that is easeful. Holding, attaching to your thoughts, stressful. Letting go of thought, detaching from them, easeful. Instant teaching, instant feedback. And in your own time, you can slowly return, open your eyes, gently stretch your body a bit. So good morning, everyone. All right, so today, I'd like to go over one of the most central and important similes that is given in the Buddhist system, as is the simile of healing. At least that's what I call it. And it looks at the path through the lens of the medical system, basically. You might have heard this term, the three jewels. Might not have heard about it. It refers to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Buddha is the teacher, the Dharma is the teaching, the Sangha is the community of practitioners that practice those teachings. The Buddha is often, to the simile, the Buddha is often compared to a skilled physician, a doctor. The Dharma, the teaching, is compared to a medicine, and the Sangha, the community, compared to nurses. And all three of them are supposed to help with healing. There's multiple levels as well to each one of those three jewels. I'm going to have a look at some of them today in the context of this healing idea, the medical idea. So the Buddha as a doctor, we could say the most obvious level of the Buddha would be the teacher that lived 2,500 years approximately ago, that was teaching the Dharma, the teachings that are available today. We can say that those teachings that are present in the texts that are delivered by teachers who have realized them and so on. But the most obvious level we could say is the texts, the body of texts, the Pali Canon, for example. All the collected teachings of the Buddha, of which there are said to be 84,000 instructions that the Buddha has given throughout his teaching career. Then, last but not least, is the Sangha, which is the most obvious level. It is the community of realized beings, monks and nuns, or practitioners, lay practitioners that have attained realization of one of the levels of enlightenment at least. So that is referred to as the noble Sangha, the community of practitioners that have attained. Yes. Those are not only just called the three jewels, but they're also referred to as the three refuges. They are like a shelter. When it rains or when you're in danger, then you can go there for help. You can go there to be safe. So you can go to the Buddha. Now, another level of the Buddha, which is a bit more direct, because obviously we cannot go 2,500 years back in time to take refuge in the actual Buddha that lived that long ago. So what's next best? Well, it's the teacher. You take refuge in the teacher. So that is one level of taking refuge that we nowadays actually have access to. But if you refer to the historical Buddha, also that is a refuge too. Because without the historical Buddha, there would be no Dharma, there would be no Sangha, there would be no teachers that have attained realization throughout their lifetime. So there would be no refuge at all. So the Buddha is really the root of all those refuges. Without him and his teachings, there wouldn't be any of that. So that's, in that way, I would say the Buddha could be, is actually, the historical Buddha is actually as well a refuge, indirectly, to us nowadays. Because all the lineage of teachings and teachers and the community and so on is based on what he did 2,500 years ago. So it's the root of all that. But more directly, we can take refuge in our teacher. Somebody, what is a teacher? That's somebody that is presenting the teaching. Fairly simple. So somebody that is giving the medicine, according to the simile, like a doctor, that would be a teacher. Do you take refuge in a doctor if you're ill? Well, obviously, right? The doctor needs to make a diagnosis. That's the teacher's job. The teacher can see, for example, what is the problem, just like a doctor. And then based upon that specific problem that you have, he can give you a prescription. He can give you a particular type of medicine and then leave you with the care of the Sangha. It's not that the teacher is not the Sangha, by the way, or the Buddha is not the Sangha. The Buddha is the Sangha. The teacher is the Sangha too. It's not like exclusive, that they have nothing to do with one another. So in that way, the teacher is a refuge. The teacher is a refuge just like a doctor is a refuge. You go to a skilled physician, you go to a skilled doctor and ask for help. And then you rely upon the diagnosis that is given and the resultant prescription. And then you rely on the teacher by actually taking the medication and following the prescription. Yes. That's how we take refuge in the teacher. Now then, the teaching, the Dharma, that would be like the medicine. What is a bit more obvious kind of level of those teachings, not just the books or the texts that we can take refuge in by studying them, by learning them, but also the resultant experience of those teachings. Yes? So the resultant experience of the teaching becomes kind of like an internal teacher, an internal guidance system. If you rely on a skilled teacher, then the teachings, the medication that that teacher will give you will be internalized. You will eat that medicine, and that medicine will become active in your own body. It will become active in your own system, starting to guide your body, your nervous system, your mind, your emotions, and so on in a very specific way. That inner guidance system then are those inner instructions that you give yourself. They are a result of the external instructions, the books you read, the instruction that you obtain from the Sangha or the teacher, and so on. They become your internal speech, for example. You start to guide yourself in a different way. Having had contact with teachers and having read their books and so on, your inner speech will change as a result of everything you digest, basically. That comes, every information that comes to you, you will take it into your body, you will take it into your mind, and you will, in that way, speak to yourself about those particular topics that you ingest. If you watch a lot of, like let's say, if you watch a lot of content about nutrition, how to eat better, or you watch a lot of content about exercise, your inner speech will start to be based on that content that you watch, right? The same goes for if you're listening to a lot of Dharma instructions and so on, and that inner speech will become like that. So this is the inner guidance system, the inner Dharma, the inner teaching that arises. Is that right away? Is that skillful? No. But it gradually increases in quality over time. The more you are exposed to good teachers, good teachings, and so on, the more skillful your own inner guidance system becomes. It's because we spend time with those people. If they are skillful, if they have a very skillful guidance system within themselves, then our own guidance system will become just as skillful, but it will take time. In the beginning, you'll have a lot of confusion. You'll hear those kind of teachings and you walk away thinking that you have fully understood what I was talking about, but there's levels to it. And many of those levels, they will reveal themselves only after about 10 years, some after 20 years. So you need to have patience. It's about gradually deepening your understanding of those things and not instantly grasp what your own mind tells you. You have to always kind of be a bit careful. It's not that you have heard some teachings. The question is also, have you understood them correctly? Have you understood them? Sorry. If you understood them correctly, the assumption often is, yes, I have understood them correctly because you understand the words. But that's not the case. Most of the time, like all of the time, I would say, actually, we don't understand the teachings correctly. We understand them at our level. So we are capable of digesting the medicine at our level. Let's say you're very sick and you're taking medicine. The medicine is excellent, but you're taking that medicine. The way the medicine will work in your body will depend on the level of illness. The effect that it has on you will depend on the strength of the illness and so on. It will not just work the same for everyone. It will work differently for all of us. That's why, again, we need a teacher to help us navigate that. Otherwise, we're just lost. Just going into a pharmacy without any guidance, you'll perhaps just take a packet of a medicine with you home that just has a nice color because you kind of like the color. And then you eat the pills, maybe because they taste good, and you don't eat the pills that don't taste good because that's your own preference. That's why we need a teacher that tells us exactly what to eat, when to eat it, how to eat it, and it's not based on your own preference. Because if we just do whatever we want to do, then the result is obviously not a healing. Maybe if you're extremely lucky, then you get a slightly better. Maybe you hit the right pills. But then you take those pills for a while, and because they've helped you initially, you just keep taking them. But after a while, you should actually switch to different pills. That would be the physician's job to tell you that. If you don't have that physician, you just keep taking the pills that you've been taking for a long time, and they don't help anymore. In fact, they start creating problems for you. Because you should have changed. The job of those particular pills is now finished. The disease that is related to those particular pills is now gone. So you need to now change and address other things and so on. That's why we need a teacher, because we can't just, it's too complex to do by ourselves. And third, the nurses. How important is it for us to heal, to have a supportive environment? To have people around us that support our healing. It's incredibly important, especially the Buddha mentions that in one of his sutras, in one of his discourses, he has a conversation with Ananda, with his cousin, about the importance of the Sangha. And Ananda has this idea that basically who you surround yourself with is half of the path. And the Buddha disagrees. He says, no, that's not true. It's all of it. The entire path is based on who you surround yourself with. Everything, first of all, comes from outside. What you think, how you feel, is completely dependent on your environment. The media you consume, the books you read, the people you hang out with, this is going to color and shape your particular worldview and your self-perception and your traumas and all that. It comes from the culture, the communities, the families that we grow up in. All of it. This is why media are such a dangerous thing, actually. What you consume is the opinions of other people, and then you make those opinions your own after a while. If you just consume a particular media outlet for long enough, the media outlet's opinion becomes your opinion, regardless of whether it's actually correct or not. It will feel like it's correct because you've made it your own opinion. Who you like and who you dislike depends on who you listen to. Some media outlet, for example, it's so apparent in America, so I take this American example, like the whole issue with Trump, for example. Yes? Some people love Trump, some people hate Trump. Why do some people love Trump? Because of the media they watch. Why do other people hate him? Because of the media they watch and the communities they're in. If you grow up in a blue state, for example, or grow up in a red state, that will color, literally, the way you think. If you have had contact with some people who are a bit more liberal in their thinking, a bit more open, who like to think differently, because that's the way their family taught them to think, for example, or they've read an interesting, impactful book about thinking for yourself or something like that, and they're intrigued by this idea, then they will make an effort to think outside of the box. But even that is still inside of the box. It's inside of the box of that particular context of being a free thinker. So we're always confined to the particular boxes that we're in. So the question is not so much about getting out of your box, but first of all, surrounding yourself with the best possible boxes you can. And the Sangha is one of those. Because that's a particular box or boat that leads to the shore. All other boats just lead in circles. It is the job of any kind of proper spiritual tradition, whether it be Christianity or Hinduism or Buddhism, to lead you to the shore, to lead you to complete freedom and independence, to lead you to deep self-knowledge. And with that, freedom from suffering, true independence. Because you're not anymore dependent on the psychological construct of your mind or your own body. There's no more dependence on those things. You're free from those. And it is the Sangha that leads to that kind of freedom or that kind of healing, taking our simile again. The healing would be the attainment of enlightenment. Okay. And we have the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. We have them at, the Sangha we had at the outer level. It's the community outside around us. Now the inner level of the Sangha would be all the skillful attributes of your psychology, of your mind and body that lead towards liberation. The collection of virtuous attributes within yourself that all lead you forward. That's the inner Sangha. And by the way, I'm not sure if this is in alignment with the traditional teachings. That's how I see it. I have to add this. It's very important. That's how I see it. The inner Sangha would be that community of skillful mental and physical qualities that you have within yourself, within the greater context of your being. Now, there is a much deeper aspect, actually, to all those three. The deepest aspect. The Buddha is not a person, not a teacher on the outside, not the teacher that exists on the inside, but the essence of all those teachers. The Buddha, the word Buddha, what does it mean? It means the one who is awake. So what is the one who is awake within you? That points to, let's say, pure awareness, for lack of better words. The true knowing state. That would be the true Buddha. That would be the true refuge, the ultimate refuge. That is also the essence of the Dharma. The ultimate teaching is your true nature. The ultimate teacher is your true nature. And the ultimate community is your true nature that we should associate with, yes? And that true nature is the real refuge. If you encounter this true nature, if you merge within it, if you let go of everything but it, the closer you get to your true nature, let's say it like this, the closer you get, the more healthy you are. The further you stray from it, the more unhealthy you are. The straying from it, the missing the mark, that is what sin really is in Christianity. You're straying from your true nature. You're straying from the I am, that is God, or that is at least an expression of God, a direct pointing out where you can find God. It is within. The kingdom of God is within. The kingdom of heaven is within. It's not up there or on the left or on the right. It is inside. But this is also the one that is mostly missed. So if your teacher and the teaching and the community is truly qualified, then that's where they will lead you. They will lead you to the realization of God. They will lead you to the highest realization, the ultimate realization, enlightenment, a complete independence, complete freedom. So some people are wondering, so what can I trust? What should I rely on? Well, all those three jewels, that's what we should rely on. First of all, an external teacher. But what should this external teacher actually teach you? He should awaken your internal teacher. And what should the internal teacher point to? It should point to the ultimate teacher. The same goes for the teaching. What teaching should you rely on? Yeah, well, of course, the teachings that the Buddha has given, yes, those are the Pali Canon and so on. So yes, you should study them. And then you should aim to experience them. And with the help of your teacher, Understand the essence of them so you're able to practice them for yourself in day-to-day life. Otherwise, if you have the whole Pali Canon or the Bible, you won't be able to decode it. Most people cannot decode those texts. They don't know what they really mean. They think they mean one thing, but actually they mean a completely different thing. A simple example would be the instruction to kill your parents that apparently the Buddha has given in some of the instructions, to kill your parents. If you don't know what parents he refers to the parents of suffering, which is craving and ignorance. It didn't refer to your physical parents. Obviously not. But if you misread this, you might as well become like some sort of dogmatic follower of Buddhism. You think about killing your parents because it's said in the scripture you should kill your parents. That happened to all religion throughout all the centuries, that people take things literal that are not actually literal, that are symbolic. There's two meanings of the Dharma. There's the literal meaning, there's symbolic meaning. If you know the difference, that's already pretty good, and we need a teacher to point that out. And we need to have a teacher that has experienced those things for themselves. Otherwise, you'll just be misled by somebody that follows their own opinions, not their realizations. There's plenty of that. So it's important to have somebody that you can verify your experiences with. See, are you on the right path or not? Just like if you're ill and you want to heal, then you need to rely on the doctor and the doctor's opinion, as well as the correct medicine at the right time and the correct support at the right time from the nurses. Sometimes the nurses have to tie you to your bed. Even if you don't like it, you have to be strapped to your bed because you're a danger to yourself, for example. You might not like it, but that has to happen. That's just an extreme example. Please take it in a symbolic way. Obviously, you don't have to. The Sangha, if they strap you to your bed, it's a bit of a weird thing, yes? That's not the point that I'm making. The point is that you have to be restrained sometimes for your own good. Good teacher will restrain you for your own good. That's why it's hard. This path is really difficult because we don't trust. First of all, especially if it goes against our own preferences, our trust quickly breaks down. That's why I think as a teacher it's a difficult job, because people kind of want to do their own thing. They want to follow their own thoughts, their own opinions, and so on. Like, I can't imagine the headache that my teacher had with me, because I want to do my thing. I don't want to follow something else. I'm an independent, strong man. So I don't want to, I'm a grown-up and I'm an adult. I don't want to follow what people tell me to. I want to feel like I'm capable, I'm intelligent, I know what I'm doing, and so on. And so that's difficult, makes it really hard. And there is, of course, the danger that you surrender completely to somebody that's not qualified, and you end up in a whole heap of trouble. That's why we should test our teachers. We should test those teachings by practicing, by surrounding ourselves with those people. See, what do they do that is different? Is this somebody I would like to become? Is this person inspiring, and so on? We need to do this, but then in the end, that also is not really reliable. Some doctors are incredibly good but unorthodox. Their methods and ways are they resonate with a few people but not with others. It doesn't mean that their method is bad. It means that simply their method works for a very particular type of illness, very particular type of personality, and so on. They are vibing with that particular doctor, and maybe that for a while, and then they need a different doctor. Maybe they need a stomach specialist, and then they need a lung specialist later on, right? Because The stomach specialist isn't able to help them with topics concerning the lungs. And only very few practitioners in the world, like really highly realized masters, they are like able to see the whole picture and guide you fully. So some teachers will be good for you for a while. And then you need a different one that gets you further. Yeah. So it's complex. It's not just a simple kind of thing where it's the three jewels, you just take refuge. You need to understand the objects of refuge as good as you possibly can. And then you need to learn what it means to take refuge, just as we did in the meditation here. I was connecting you a little bit more to your inner guiding system. I was asking you to pay attention to your body's feedback. Could you notice how craving, clinging, tensing up, holding is unpleasant? And could you notice how releasing, softening, letting go, surrender in the body is actually pleasant? And then you need to repeat that observation to verify that for yourself. Is that always the case? Is that reliable? Is it a refuge? Meaning, is it reliable? What is it within me that gives rise to suffering, and what is it that puts an end to suffering? Can you understand those mechanics within yourself? Very good. And you can trust that more and more, slowly, slowly, from your own experience, the exchange with the teacher, the exchange with the Sangha. Slowly, slowly, you get experience. And that experience becomes more and more undeniable and clear. And once it is very, very clear, then it becomes very obvious. You understand, this is what suffering is. This is when it ends. This is the cause of suffering, and so on. You can see clearly for yourself. And that can be put to the test. Are you still capable of suffering? There's work to be done. If you're truly incapable of suffering, or at least if you have found the Buddha, if you've found that part of yourself that is completely incapable of suffering, regardless of what goes on, that is undeniable. Then whatever circumstance you experience that is maybe for most people really unpleasant, it isn't unpleasant for you. It's impossible to fool yourself with that. The nervous system, the body, and so on, they lay testimony to it. You're not stressed anymore. Even if you get severely ill, there's just no stress. Even if people denounce you or hate on you or troll you or whatever, there's no more stress. You're not experiencing stress. If you lose all your money, no stress. You're not stressed. You're incapable of suffering, no matter what happens to you. That is undeniable. You can put it to the test. That's a true refuge. So until you don't even have to be afraid of death, because you found a part in you that doesn't die, that isn't born. And of course, it's a bit incorrect if I say a part of you. It's not a part of you. It's your true nature. That is qualifying the ultimate refuge. You just cannot possibly suffer no matter what happens. You've entered the kingdom of heaven. And then, well, your job is pretty straightforward and simple. Make on earth as it is in heaven. And now since you have entered heaven, it's effortless. Where you are, that's where heaven is. So yeah, those are just a couple of reflections on the three jewels and refuge and this whole medical idea of healing, this medical simile of the doctor, the medicine, and the nurses. Just for your reflection. I hope it is useful. All right, yeah, thank you very much for coming. Have a good one.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and had a meaningful time. For more information and upcoming events, head over to our website at phuket-meditation.com. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.